I do what I want. My name is Sam. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am bringing you my somewhat belated TBR for my Tome Infinity and Beyond Readathon Round 2. I realized last night that the readathon starts in like 3 days and I hadn't posted a TBR video yet because I'm apparently a really shitty co-host. And also, what's more, I didn't even have my TBR totally figured out. But anyway, I figured I would do that today, film this video, give you guys my TBR, you know, readathon stuff. I was also planning on telling you guys, like in addition to my TBR, I was planning on telling you guys about all of the video and Instagram challenges that are taking place during this round of the readathon because we've got some really, really fun stuff planned, but I would need to read them off of my phone, and I'm using my phone to record today because my camera's dead, and I didn't really think that through. But, you know, you get what you pay for, and my videos are free. So, sorry about it. I will list all of the video challenges in the description box, and I will also link the Google Doc that has all of the information in it, and I will link the other host videos where they explain the video challenges, and Megan from Tome Infinity also explains the Instagram challenges and hers, so you will be able to get that information even if it's not coming from this face. And remember that you can use the video challenges to eliminate one of your reading challenges if you can't find a book to fit or you just feel like you're short on time, because I'm the sort of person who loves to multitask, and I'm also the sort of person who didn't want to set an overambitious TBR for this. I am doubling, tripling, quadrupling up on challenges. I am counting books across multiple tiers, and I'm also planning on reading all of the host books except for my own. But I managed to fit most of them into the challenges organically, so I still have the ability to count each of those host books to eliminate a challenge. So I'm giving myself some wiggle room with this. That said, I still do have, I think, 13 or 14 books picked out that I'm going to try to read, and so we'll see how that goes. Let's just get into the TBR, shall we? For Tier 1, which is your basic survivalist stuff, the challenges are food, water, air, fire, shelter, and sleep, I believe. I think I got those right. Like I said, I'm not looking at all of the stuff right now because I'm recording with my phone. But for this entire tier, I'm actually going to be reading one book. And I was really proud of myself for this because I was like, yeah, that counts for 6 challenges. But I'm going to be reading Semiosis by Sue Burke. This is a survival story about a bunch of humans surviving on this alien planet, and the environment around them keeps changing and they have to adapt. And from what I understand of it, it takes place over multiple generations, so you can see how the humans kind of adjust over time and they're trying to like coexist with the plant life. You guys know I love a killer plant story. That one was recommended to me by Erica at the Perks of Books. I'm really excited to read it, and I'm really glad that it will like fit into the TBR for this. Since I haven't read it though, I don't know if it technically addresses every aspect of the basic survivalist thing. If it doesn't, I might do a video challenge or count one of the host books for it, but since it is a survival story, I think it can count for all of basic survivalism regardless. So Tier 2, the challenges are medicine, education, trading, procreation, travel, and oral communication, and for those, we're going to start getting into some of those host picks that I managed to fit into the challenges. I'm very proud of myself. So for medicine, I am going to be reading Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood, which is Megan from Tome Infinity's pick for this readathon, because it's about like it's not entirely about, but there's mention of like a super drug that's supposed to like, you know, help with sexual performance and random health aspects. There's like a whole epidemic that breaks out. There's a lot that's supposed to be going on in that book. I've also never read it, and I love Margaret Atwood, so I'm really excited to give that one a shot. For education, this is not a host pick. I am planning on reading Pegasus in Space by Anne McCaffrey. This I'm fitting into education because it's about a group of people with parapsychic talents, and it follows a character who's still kind of learning to master his parapsychic talents, and since he's still learning and figuring things out, we're gonna call that education. Cool, cool. All right. For trading, I did not have a book picked, so this is one of the situations where I'm just counting a host pick as my get out of jail free card, and for that I'm going to be reading Nixia by Scott Brenton, which is Kat from Brews and Reviews' host pick for this readathon. I know very little about it. I do remember looking up a synopsis and thinking it sounded like something I would like, so here's hoping. For procreation, I have chosen Dawn by Octavia Butler, which is also a host pick, but fits into procreation naturally, so I'm not using it to like eliminate a prompt. I'm just using it because it fits the prompt. It's about aliens and their ways of procreation. There's a lot more to it, but again, I haven't read it, but I know it counts. Anyhow, for travel, I'm going to be reading A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers because there is space travel in it. And because I just really want to continue that series. And then for oral communication, I am going to be reading Saga, Volume 3, by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Saga is Kayla from On the Fritz's host pick for this, but I'm using this for oral communication because the entire story is being told from the perspective of the child of the two main characters. And because it is a comic series, most of it's told in like dialogue, and I can interpret it as her telling her story out loud if I want to. Tier 3. We have urban settlements, class structure, government, higher education, technology, and religion. For urban settlements, I'm going to be reading Record of a Spaceborne Few by Becky Chambers, which is the last book in the Wayfarers series. There's people living in urban settlements, okay? It's fine. Everything's fine. For class structure, Megan from Tome Infinity will be very excited to hear this. I'm planning on reading Red Rising by Pierce Brown because as far as I'm aware, the whole like basis for that is that there's like a big class divide. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's a thing. For government, I'm going to be reading Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, which is Nicole from Who Picked This Book's host pick for this readathon, but it also fits this because it's a sci-fi that involves the government. Don't worry about it. For higher education, and I realized I didn't hold up my copy of the book the first time I talked about it, but here's my first double up. I'm going to be reading Orcs and Crake by Margaret Atwood because the two main characters in this are split up. They're like friends, and then they get split up when it comes time for them to be going to college, getting higher education. One of them goes into like biomedical engineering or something, and the other one goes into like essentially liberal arts. And I'm also reading this for the next one, which is technology, because there's a lot of technological development going on throughout the course of this, or so I've gathered. For religion, I'm cashing in another host pick as my get out of jail free card, and that is, I'm just going to count Saga, Volume 3 for this. Tier 4, I am really excited about. The categories are art, music, dance, theater, writing, and invention. So for art and theater and writing, I will be reading Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. The main characters are artists, musicians, theatrical personalities. You get it. Writers. And then for music and dance, I'm going to be reading Space Opera by Catherine M. Valente, which is apparently like a sci-fi America's Got Talent story. It just sounds like really cheesy and really fun, and I'm really excited to read it. Also, the cover is spectacular. And then for invention, I'm going to be revisiting Orcs and Crake by Margaret Atwood. This fits a lot of these challenges, you guys. Seriously, if you still haven't figured out a TBR, you could just like read this and you could fit it into most of the prompts. It's pretty wild. For tier 5, this is the tier I did not figure out until literally last night at like 11:30 p.m. So, you know, that's something. But this is the Galactic Empire, and instead of prompts that are really like settlement building. This is about like the subgenres of science fiction, which is honestly so awesome. And I love that this is something that Megan threw in here. So the categories are futurism or Afrofuturism, cyberpunk or steampunk, apocalyptic or dystopian, science fantasy, a space opera, or a vintage or space western. There were other slashes in there, but I didn't write them down. For futurism or Afrofuturism, I'm counting Dawn by Octavia Butler. For cyberpunk or steampunk, I am counting the forerunner, granddaddy of cyberpunk books, and that is Neuromancer by William Gibson. All right, for apocalyptic or dystopian, I am finally going to read The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. For science fantasy, I am once again going to be counting Saga Volume 3 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, unless I'm feeling zesty and decide to read multiple volumes of Saga this month. For a space opera, I'm counting A Close and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. Like I said, it's about space travel. Most of it takes place in space, thus it counts as a space opera. Cool, rad. Okay, and then for my vintage story, I'm either going to count Neuromancer or Dawn by Octavia Butler. I have plenty of vintage options to choose from should I decide I want to read something else, but I'm already trying to read 13 or 14 books and I didn't want to overstretch, so I decided to just count one of the ones that I was already reading that happens to be a vintage. Anyway, that's it for my Tome Infinity and Beyond Round 2 TBR. As with all of my TBRs, this is 100% subject to change as the month goes on. Also, I am planning on doing video challenges, so if I don't get through something, I will be able to use those to help kind of give myself a little wiggle room. I'm still totally open to working with a buddy. If you are going to be hanging out on Pluto and you want to join me and help me knock out some of these challenges, feel free to hit me up. You can comment here or message me on Twitter or Goodreads or whatever. All my information's in the description. I don't know how to wrap up this video. Hope you guys have a great day.